I just talked to the CEO of Bloom. They're doing millions of dollars in ARR. They have 1 million plus active users. They're a fintech app. They're like one of the most insane growth engines that I've ever seen, combining organic with ads. Let's get right into it. So by the end of this pod, what key takeaways should the listeners expect around app growth and engagement?
I think definitely understanding how you can scale the organic growth. How do you scale this business from one creator to 5 to 10 to 20 micro influencers, and how you can adopt that to paid ads as well, right? There's a feedback loop of the testing via organic growth creators and then use the same asset to paid ads, which will make you grow or use less budget on paid ads, right? So that testing loop is definitely something. And second is PMF. I think people overlook product market fit and just focus their time mostly on marketing. But if the product doesn't stick with the users, it really is a problem. So understanding of the PMF will be something that you can learn from this podcast.
Yeah, I feel like Bloom has done super well with the viral organic stuff on TikTok. So I think people will be super interested in that, as well as the loop of like organic to ads and just actually scaling. What is Bloom?
Bloom is Gen Z's learn to invest app. So think of it as like a Robinhood and Duolingo together, where you could actually learn from the very basic concept of what is investing all the way to, what is PE ratio and reading the financial statement, right? So with that, the same knowledge, you can actually test your knowledge via mock trading and gamification on our platform, as well as invest in US.
So I wanted to ask, like, what's working right now for distribution, and how are you getting users? Like, what are the trends that you're seeing right now that are working really well for you guys?
Yeah, I think 2024 has been a big year for us for organic growth. In 2023, we massively scaled TikTok paid ads, and then we saw that, CAC is actually not performing as well as, mid 2023. And by 2023, end of 2023, it really tailored down. We doubled down on like scaling our organic growth. And I think 2024 narrative was how to get rich, I think was pretty much the theme for us, right? Like, so we would, make Heijen videos, and a lot of videos were like, oh, what does the billionaire nanny do, right, for their kids? And I think that narrative really, really did well last year. And then obviously the Reddit carousel did really well. But come this year, I think people realize that relatability is something big. So we're targeting a lot of study talk groups where like actually relatable for college students on how to get, good score and how to actually invest money properly. And I think that really did well for us for past 6 months or this year.
Okay, so let's go to the billionaire nanny and Reddit. Like these are like deep like brain rot scroll like TikTok formats that like I feel like a lot of people don't know that much about, but you guys were like killing it on TikTok with these like insane formats. Like, do you have any examples that you could show some of the stuff you guys are doing there?
People definitely like the idea of how do I get rich quick. And I think it was a good narrative to get into, say that we saw a pattern of how billionaires raise their kids. And then from there, you see, you share like, what do they eat? How do they, go to school? What kind of education they get? And then you lead into, they actually start their investing, learning really early in their stage. And I think that really gets to people that, oh, if I do start my education early enough, whether I'm in teens or college student, I could potentially become millionaire, right? So I think that narrative really resonated with people a lot. We scaled this really quickly by using both just micro influencers, but also Heijen a lot last year. So I think that really resonated well with people where, oh, like if I actually do invest early, I'll become rich. If you think about like idea of ethics, it might be on a borderline, but in the end, it's not promoting get rich quick. It's like if you actually come to our app and learn stuff, it's more about long-term growth. So it's like a good hook to get people hooked. But then once they come into the platform and start learning contents, they realize that it's not a one day rich quick theme. It's actually more so how do I invest in a recurring theme and then build this portfolio with a compound rate, which made it sticky in the end. And I think the retention for us actually really worked well, even though our advertisement is more about like how do billionaires do to become a billionaire.
That's actually like such a good point. I feel like a lot of people see the growth tactics and they're like, oh, that's just short term. It's like you're over promising. But then like if you have a good app, then the funnel is that's just classic marketing, right? You go super broad at the top, and then once people get into the app, Bloom is a great app. Like you actually have a ton of gamification and a lot of like deep features that allow people to invest in the long term. And exactly. I think this is like a perfect example of like doing both at the same time. How do you actually make that creator engine work? So you have all these like kind of like faceless videos and slides and HeyGen, do you have a team that's like doing this? Do you like hire creators? How do you actually like make sure this content gets produced
Yeah.
consistently at such a high level?
Yeah, so we have internal team and also we work with agency who specializes in AI content generation.
Hmm.
So with them, we already had 5 to 10 accounts that had a decent following and engagement, and we would just mass produce contents. And then let's say per account, we'll post maybe two contents a day. And then once something hits viral, we would just propagate to, 20 different ones and then try to get as much view as possible. And then once we get the view, we would then focus on conversion, right? So we would have a comment team going in there and then commenting about our app specifically, because a lot of these organic growth, if you think about it, if you say, oh, download Bloom today, they know it's ad. So we would do a lot of indirect CTA where we just share screens and share narratives and share stories that's going to resonate with people. And then indirectly, we would use common strategy to say, this is the app called Bloom, and people will organically flow into our. And I think that's how we scaled the HeyGen method with the agency. And also internally, we would do similar strategy with just no following and warming up accounts and posting. That's another team that we worked internally. And then with the micro influencers, we mostly work with agency on this topic. And Joseph, I think you brought our team a good resource. Lauren from Pebble actually helped us a lot on really, picking up the right creators. I can't disclose her strategy, but in a very high level, it's really finding a good content creator, not a massive following. So if you see the videos of these creators are creating, you know that they're creating the right videos because they're at the right angle, lights, narratives, and what, trends they're following. Then with that, you reach out to those creators and then they would create a new account from the beginning and then warm up and then scale from there quickly. And that's kind of how we scaled. And obviously there's more details in there where like, how do you pay the creators? It's like retainer plus CPM, right? I think you talk about this a lot in our consumer club as well, but those are kind of the high level strategy that we use if you had to break it down 3 different ways.
That's so smart. Like a completely new way of like doing creator marketing. So you're not going for these like big influencers with big followings. You're going after targeted small creators that are not going to charge like ridiculous prices for brand deals, but then you're paying a retainer. So you're like paying per month. You don't have to give exact numbers, but like what's a rough range for like what you would want to pay for a small creator like this?
Yeah, I think it depends on the volume. So we have like 1 or 2 different types of contracts that we send out, and there are times where we just send out flat rate of $1,000 per month, and then we will pay them based on CPM if they hit over 10K and 50K and 100K. So per CPM, we pay like anywhere between $2 to $4 for a bonus. And there are creators where we just pay them lower retainer fee with $500 for 60 videos, but then we give them a higher CPM. So based on the contents they create, we offer them different types of deals, but that's how we would usually structure it. Because like the baseline of creating volume of video, I think they usually require retainers, and I think it's fair that we give them the right pay for what they create. But then for being virality, that's how we incentivize via CPM bonus.
So anywhere between $500 to $1,000 per month. And how many videos are they creating for
They're
that
creating
price?
60.
60 videos. So they're basically posting 2 videos per day, every single day for a month.
Right. Yeah. And they usually both have 2 different accounts where, different names, but then they would post it on cross channel for them as well, just to see how algorithm really works. Sometimes, one account picks up better than the other, then they would focus on posting 2 of them in there versus 1 each. So we use like different A/B testing on how we actually can get viral faster.
So they're basically like each creator has 1 to 2 accounts. They're creating them from scratch and creating like profiles. Is it a branded profile where it's like this is Bloom, like a copy of the Bloom app profile, or does it look like a personal account?
It looks like personal account, but obviously the contents that goes in is somewhat branded. So it's like a mix of both, but then the profile itself is just like a person's face with, learn to invest with XYZ.
Yeah, as a recap, like 500 to 1,000 retainer to make 60 videos a month plus a CPM. So you're paying per 1,000 views and you're paying like anywhere from like $2 to $4 per 1,000 views. And then it sounds like you have like cutoff points as well. So you have like, if they get 50,000 views, 100,000 views, are those like minimum view caps where you have to reach those amounts in order to unlock the CPM?
Right. Yeah, I think that this also depends on the creator, but sometimes we cap it at 10K. I mean, we started at 10K, right? Because these are new creators with a new account. So for them to actually hit 10K might be a little harder than the others. So that's one case. And for a little bit more size creators, not like mega influencers, but maybe like 5 to 10K followers, we start from 100K and we cap at 1,000 payout per video at max. And that's when you hit like 1 million and above views, really. That's one thing. 10K to 50K is really to incentivize them to work harder in creating a right contents versus getting the download for us, right? Because if you think about it, the scale of economy really works for these videos. Post you hit 100K and above views, in my opinion, because below 100K, it's usually not, highest conversion. And especially within 10K to 50K range, it's more for getting the viral engine warmed up rather than actually getting the conversion. So 10 to 50K, we incentivize them so that they, have a reason to create a better videos versus like trying to get a conversion or rewarding them because it's converting.
It's like employee retention, right? It's like bonuses. Like you can't expect people to just grind for you. Like you have to kind of take them along the journey of, I don't know, it's like dopamine, like you get the money and you see the views, that motivates you to go further and try harder. If you just say, hey, well, I'll give you $1,000 for 1 million views, and then they don't get very many views on the first video, that's where a lot of creators lose the motivation and they just stop creating, even if they had the potential to reach that level. In making sure there's incentives and like short-term goals along the way, that seems like it's so much more sustainable, and you can create like a bigger engine with that.
If you think about it, it's almost like 3-phase thing, right? Like a first phase, I think before it was purely CPM basis, and we saw a lot of creators actually fall off in the very beginning. So in order to reward them in the beginning, that's why we came up with the, small retainer to start with. And then the mid phase is like giving them enough incentive to go above scale of economy, which is 100K views. So from 1,000 to a couple thousand views to 100K, we're incentivizing them for them to stay with us as a retention mechanism. And 100K and above, they really do have a reason to stay with us because they will be properly incentivized with $1,000, a pretty big money for college students, right? So every video that hits 100K view, then you will be incentivized. So I think those are the three kind of like a breakdowns of how we would retain the creators who are actually good and creates the right contents for us.
That's really great. And then it must be a lot to manage all of this. Like it sounds very complex like right now. Is it a lot of work for you and your team to manage this whole organic engine? Is this something that you'd recommend for founders to be doing right now?
It is a lot of work, right? Because you yourself has to spend so much time on TikTok a day just to identify the right trend and work with agency to figure out if this is going to work or not. And obviously that requires a lot of energy and time. But I do think it's worth doing it yourself in the beginning. And then later find the right people to work with. And I think that's what I did with, your recommendation, Joseph, with, Lauren and, Jonathan and them. Like we're really like testing different teams out and then just trying to scale as fast as possible with that. So short answer, yes, I think it is worth it, but it's not just, let them handle it, right? It will require some time for you to actually do it. I mean, all the tools that you developed, Joseph, actually did help a lot, right? Like viral TikTok viewers, right? That you work with Yanis and Lauren and Jonathan is also from Consumer Club, who is like very scrappy growth hackers. Working with them definitely helped me scale this faster than not. If I were to do this by myself, I don't know if I could do it again.
Yeah. I'm not paying Jay to say any of this, by the way, but thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, happy to do referrals anytime. So it sounds like it is working well. It's like the referral, just like building that organic engine is really paying off. And it sounds like it's not necessarily just about the organic videos, right? So you get these big viral videos on TikTok, and then it sounds like you guys are doing ads as well. So if you could like show some of how this actually scales.
2023, we saw, I guess we kind of like pioneered like organic growth from fintech perspective. And we saw like organic growth obviously has like ups and downs of, something goes viral and then, it will be on viral for a month, but then after that, it will tailor down and you got to find the new creatives. And I think that time loop definitely made our spike of downloads go up and down and up and down. And we wanted to somewhat make it consistent so we can scale this business quicker, right? So one thing that we learned is that if something goes viral in organic growth, you could run a, focus paid ads towards, right age group and just right continent, like country, and then double down on paid ads. And that really brings the value to us. So once we saw some of these high view videos tailored down, we would use that as like our paid ads, and then really double down on how we can scale the business quickly. So some of these videos, if you look at it,
you downloaded Bloom when you were a freshman, and now you're a junior with the only Tesla in the parking lot. Bloom teaches you how to invest.
Right. So the first part is organic video that went viral by using organic growth method, but then the latter part actually explained the app. So we would start with organic growth video that would capture users' attention, and then we'll transition into the download. These worked pretty well for us, and some of these brain rot style video of the maze runners, right?
Underrated iPhone app. The Bloom app lets you buy stock while also holding your hand through the process. You can also get rewarded with free stock when you complete their educational materials. Some of my friends were smart enough to take advantage of this and already had made tens of thousands by T.
So these kind of videos obviously worked really well because like brain rot to PDF was pretty big last year and also leading into this year. So we use similar formats and then we indirect CTA this, and then towards the end of the video, you will see a small disclaimer, download Bloom, so that most people will think this is organic and then later on it leads to download CTA. That's how we kind of scaled our business using paid and, kind of making the valley and peak a little flatter and then making it go right and up, right? So yeah,
this is so insane. I feel like most people who run paid ads, it's like if you're a marketer, you follow the classic marketing frameworks like pain, agitate, solution, or big dream outcome, handle objections, and show value prop or whatever. It's like this ad literally feels like a TikTok, like that you would just scroll. So I imagine you're like scrolling through the feed and you just see this and it's like, oh, what are some underrated iPhone apps? It almost like doesn't, like, you see the little ad marker maybe in the corner, but it doesn't register fully that like, oh, this is an ad, because the content is engaging. It's just like, oh, it's another Reddit story. Oh, that's interesting. I want to watch this video. And then halfway in, you talk about the app, but by then it's like it's still an engaging video, and people are their guard is so much lowered compared to if it's like explicitly just hard CTA right in the beginning. But it looks like you sort of like modify the call to action when you turn the organic into an ad. Is that right? Like for the organic, it sounds like it's a very soft CTA, and then you kind of mention the app in the comments. For the ad, do you like modify it?
Yeah, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends on the content. So for example, this video with the Reddit, what are some underrated iPhone apps? This one, we didn't, do anything. But then if you look at the first video that I shared, we transition our CTA by showing our app.
How to invest, make money, and earn passive income. It even gives you stocks for completing quizzes. Download now to...
So we add these, last 15 seconds of video by showing our apps, which it didn't exist on, initial organic virality, but then we added this so we can lead to a better CTA, because in the end you're paying for CTA, right? It's exposure as well, but then it's got to lead to a CTA with a paid ad. So that's why we add a little bit. But if you read the verbiage a little carefully, like it's not download now to be successful or to grow, right? It's download now to flex on your friends. So it still has the feel of a little bit of organic growth and organic content instead of a super direct CTA, but we still lead to CTA by using a little bit variations of content.
This is super helpful. Let's think about like, this is the full funnel, right? So you're looking at TikTok, maybe you see an organic video, maybe you see an ad. You're like, oh, this app seems really cool. I want to make more money. You download the app, and then what you said in the beginning is like, you have this broad, big claims and, very exciting ad or organic content. And then how do you actually convert those users into paying users and having them be engaged, to have those subscriptions be retained? Maybe we can look into your paywall and just like how you think about onboarding?
We are still refining onboarding almost like every quarter at this point, because I think where it falls up, like, so I guess stepping back, finance apps conversion is really tough, right? Because in the end, you have to provide all your personal information. You have to go through KYC, and then it's your money that you're investing. So they're very careful about actually signing up versus, let's say, any other like learning apps or AI apps where it helps you with the homework. There's a straightforward reason for you to download from the beginning, but then for investing, I think it's a little different. They are very careful. They're much more mindful about how they want to invest their money. So we spend a lot of time on revising onboarding, and this is our newest edition that's not live yet, but it's like a straight rewarding program where like it gives you enough motivation to say, if you invest X amount of dollars at age 18, which is earlier than normal, then you will make $1 million by 65. But if you wait until 30, you end up only about 340K. So this gives a little bit of urgency for them to actually, oh, like I have to start today. And then, obviously with a little more classic where like it gives you a confidence by that we are on Forbes, we're on Fox, we're on Yahoo, we're backed by SIPC as well as like YC, right? So at that, it gives you a little bit more excitement. We used to do this as continue, but now we do as let's go, where we're targeting more college students, or we're like testing out a little bit of this verbiage as well. And then we are giving a little more animated views of like the Netflix and Tesla, which is like a more of a memeified stock at this point. So, it gives them a little more engaging content. And then we are changing around the colors a lot so that they actually don't lose interest in the middle of the onboarding. And then obviously with that, you can click right side and skip everything and then go straight into it. And I think this is what a lot of apps do by giving reviews so that they trust the app. So that's like the last section of our app, by giving them the trust. So we start with urgency, explain the app with a lot of animations and colors so they don't lose focus, and give them trust by showing them trusted customer reviews. And this usually retained us pretty well in terms of downloads to actually signing up. So that's our revised onboarding, and how we convert from onboarding by adding those information to actually getting them sign up to subscription is by showing this kind of CTA. So it's pretty simple, right? I think a lot of folks who join our app understands that there's gamification and learning components, but they also know that there's a free stock. And that's kind of a bait for users, where if you sign up, you'll get a free stock instead of a free cash. And I think given that it's an investing app, instead of giving them free cash in their account, giving them stock actually helped us a lot to give them a long-term growth mindset. So this is at this point, we've used the same like a subscription funnel for about 2 to 3 quarters now, which worked pretty well for us. We're changing around the numbers of dollars a little bit. I think $40 to $75 and $60, and changing around to see if that would impact our subscription, which it didn't as much, but right now it's at the highest of $75, and we're testing this out for this quarter and next quarter.
That's really interesting. So you're actually like giving users $75 just to like sign up.
Up to. So there's if you read, there's a small disclaimer that's up to means that, when you sign up, you get roughly anywhere between like $2 to $4 free stocks, and then you can play games and do all the learnings and earn in-game currency, which you can buy loot box with those, which will unlock a fraction of stocks. So technically you can earn up to $75, but then it's not an immediate $75 in the beginning.
Right. But the basic principle is like you're giving people incentives. It's almost like the gamification starts on day one. You're giving people rewards for doing the things that will help them like save and invest money over time, and you're just kind of front loading that and saying, hey, look, this is like the opportunity that you can make. I bet when you reach out to creators, it's almost the same thing. It's like, here's how much you could make, and then once they're interested, now it's like, okay, now here's the CPM, here's the retainer. So that's really interesting. So like
exactly.
Basically your onboarding psychology is like people are really excited, and they have high intent, they're about to just downloaded the app, they're interested to get started. You kind of remind them of like the feeling that they had when they first watched the ad or the organic. They're like thinking about, okay, now there's like some FOMO, some urgency. It's like the comparison of that. And then you go into features and like, okay, what are you actually getting out of this app? It's a real investing account. You can copy trade, learn about stocks and like understand the market, gamification, get rewards. And then you go into like social proof, reviews, and then paywall. Have you ever done like split testing and like for onboarding? Like have you found any like interesting insights from like A/B testing different types of onboarding or different pricing or any like big lift that came from those kinds of experiments?
Yeah, we haven't done much of a pricing testing just because we already have a pretty, decent sized user. So if we actually play around with the pricing, I think there are some discrepancy of like how much they're paying to join. So we haven't done that so far. But in terms of testing like a different style of onboarding, we've done few. And I think what was interesting was before we had a one screener that actually had all this information in one slide. So this one, and this one, and this one was just all in the same slide, right? It was packed with words. That actually compared to just like a one slider where they can click and go to the next slide had a pretty big change, right? Because heavy words, they really don't read it and they just see maybe stars and a little bit of graphic and they skip. So they kind of lose the whole point of why they're joining the app. Versus after this launch, I think it definitely did lift our adding information funnel, right? So from download to adding their personal information, this new style definitely did lift our actual sign up.
It's kind of counterintuitive, right? Because like people would think that if you have to click to more and more screens, there's going to be drop off at every single tap. But what you're saying is you divided one screen into like 5 different screens. Why are people like going through all these different screens instead of just like churning off of that? Wouldn't it be better to have like just one screen? But clearly the data doesn't say so, but I'm just curious like why you think that works.
Exactly. So there's the second part to this where we had a get started button here versus not having any buttons, and not having any buttons actually worked better. So meaning if they can't get started, they would actually read everything and understand it. I think that was one difference. And I think second thing that this format worked better is because everyone's so used to story format from Instagram, they just unthinkingly, they just click right side and they know that the screen flips. And I think that's how we designed our learning contents as well. And I think that really helped for them to kind of intuitively just walk around and just like skip if they wanted, just scroll all the way without reading much, but they would still understand how that works. So with that, I think it just is better like user experience for them because they know what they're doing versus word heavy. I think is just like a waste of space, waste of another screen that they don't read through, and then just becomes nothing.
Hey, just a quick pause. Jay is a member of Consumer Club. It's a Discord community of app founders that have traction and are discussing all these growth strategies. Big thanks to Superwall for sponsoring the episode as well, for sponsoring Consumer Club. Let's get right back into this paywall. Yeah, let's talk about how fast do you feel like trends get cycled through? Because like, there's like an early adopter curve where people like start doing a format and then all the other marketers do the same format and then it saturates because consumers get used to it and they see it as ads. How fast is that cycle? Like and then also like, if you had to predict, like, what do you think is the next format?
Yeah, I think the cycle usually changes every 3 to 6 months, depending on how viral this narrative goes. And I think a Billionaire Nanny story specifically, like, really went for quite a while. I think it did for like 6 months. And that Heijen era definitely did go for a while. Versus, I think trend now for like Q1 and Q2 of this year was like really around study talk and a lot of these like AI homework narratives that worked really well. But the problem with that was because we were a fintech company, not an actual study talk company, the conversion was actually lower, even though we get the views. So with that, I think now a lot of people are interested in carousel because what goes viral without any organic growth or just general content is really around carousel. And I think TikTok is really pushing carousel as like a main feature on their platform. And I'm really not sure why they're pushing this narrative, but it seems like it is working well for them. So for next, I'm really not sure, to be honest, right? I'm not sure what's going to come next, but I do see a lot of Bible apps going really well. And I think there is just like generally social disconnect amongst like younger generations where they feel like they need to rely more on like absolute power, or they need to rely on something else rather than just like going out and hanging out with friends. Like alpha male, I think contents that's like, oh, work hard, study hard, like invest, make sure you take care of your body. I think that narrative still resonates to a lot of people. And I think God theme is like super interesting for me. And I think therapy is another thing that really resonates. So I think it's more of a low key, like a self-care narrative that's going to go viral. But yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, if you like truly want to pioneer marketing formats and be the first to go super viral with by like taking advantage of like big narratives and movements that already exist, I feel like you have to like pay attention to culture and like understand what people are thinking about and feeling. I totally agree. I mean, I've definitely been seeing a lot of Bible apps, like prayer apps, stuff like therapy, especially with AI. You can like talk to an AI therapist, or just have like the AI like understand what you're feeling based on your voice notes or your journal entries seem to be saying about you. It seems like it's not just like the obvious opportunity here is to do AI therapy apps.
Yeah.
To your point, it seems like there's also like you can bring it to other verticals, like the Bible chat, for example. It's like it's a prayer app, or it's like a reading the Bible app, but you're like chatting. It's a more like interactive experience. So do you feel like there's opportunity to do fintech in a more, right now it's already gamified, it's personalized, like Bloom is probably, one of the best that does that. So, but do you feel like you can learn anything from some of these like viral, like Bible apps, or this like general movement around people feeling lonely, feeling like they need some sort of like something bigger than themselves to attach themselves to, and like stuff like that?
Yeah, I think in a very high level, I think self-care like relates well with investing. Like you have to invest for your future. I think so that like from therapy angle, it's like get therapy, make sure you invest for a better future so you can retire early. I think that narrative could definitely work. Another interesting angle with the Bible and praying app is if you actually look or read through Bible, Proverbs 13-11, like there's like this, verse where it's like, don't waste your money, make sure you invest, make sure you actually save wisely. So obviously with that angle, I think there's a narrative where I can spin off from the Bible narrative and then just make sure that everyone is investing wisely instead of just wasting money. So I think you can always like tweak the narrative a little bit that will fit into your narratives. That we're like very early on in testing this strategy, but who knows if it might go viral or not. I'm slowly going to test on this angle as well. But yeah, I think you can always tweak the narrative a little bit that will fit into your need.
Now that you say that, I guess like the framework is you look at an existing movement and then you can make a marketing angle for that movement. You don't even need to make an app specifically for them. It's just a marketing angle. Like if you think about It really reminds me of Twitter. Like they recently hit 100 or 200K a month. And it's like a quit pornography app, helps you to like deal with that like addiction. But their target, like a lot of their organic content and ads is targeted towards Christians, and they have that angle because a lot of Christians care about that pain point. But in the app, it's not like a Christian app. It's just it's the pain point solution for that specific niche, but it's not like it's not targeted towards the audience. Just the marketing is targeted towards the audience. So I feel like you can do this really with any app. It's like whatever app you have, you just look at an existing social movement. What is a pain point? What is the solution that like people are looking for? You can offer your thing to that audience. Are you guys gonna do that, or like with any, like I guess with the Bible movement or any other like demographic?
Yeah, I'm looking into it and trying to test it out with just like a 1 or 2 accounts maybe and see if anything picks up. We haven't tried it just yet, but I think Bible for sure, and I think self-care is the next one that I'm trying to see if it makes sense. Because like so many therapy apps and a lot of people actually use AI to have a daily conversation. So that narrative is definitely picking up. So I'm going to tweak and see if that's going to pick up. Be a better man, be a better woman. How do I become a better human? Then I think you can obviously do like, first do this, and second, invest wisely. 3, don't waste your money. 4, download Bloom, right? I think that carousel can definitely work. So we'll definitely test it out in coming month.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see how that goes. People should follow you on LinkedIn or Twitter or something to to see the updates, or join Consumer Club and see your share win in a couple months. Yeah, but so I do want to like, so all this marketing stuff, I feel like when people think about marketing in the future of content formats and what goes viral and algorithms, AI is scaring a lot of people. Like more and more content is just becoming AI, which makes the barrier to entry for mass marketing. It just lowers that barrier to entry. So more and more marketers can just produce mass amounts of content. Do you
For
feel
sure.
like content is getting saturated? Are you scared about like AI marketing in the future?
Yeah, I generally think it will be interesting down the road. It is getting saturated, and so many people can actually create content so easily now, right? Like even us, we scaled to 20 accounts because we had Heygen, right? So I do think the content saturation will be a problem. In the end, creativity wins. Like even the prompts that you create for AI is based on your creativity, not just copy and paste, right? Obviously, a copy and paste what's going viral will always work, and it will be easier to scale with AI, and which will saturate the market. And in the end, it comes back to a same position where you need to be creative. You need to think about the right narratives, whether with or without the AI. So I think there is still, play in contents if you are smart enough, savvy enough, and study enough of the market trend and just come up with the right narrative. It is scary though. It is scary because there's going to be, another 21 years old, 20 years old who can actually scale AI, scale way quicker than, for example, me. I'm 30 something. I will learn not as quick as people who use AI from high school, middle school, and just like grow up with AI, right? So it is scary that I'll be not as competitive, but obviously with that, I need to hire the right people. But I think overall, I think it's for good than worse.
Yeah, but you're already in the top like 1%. Like the fact that you're doing all this stuff and you're keeping up with the trends and you're identifying the young talent that knows how to do the execution. This is like the cutting edge. Also, I just like surrounding myself with optimistic people, and I like your answer that's just like, yeah, like it's going to get saturated, but we have a window of arbitrage where you can take advantage of it. You may as
For
well
sure.
win from it and not just like sit on the sidelines. So
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that you guys are you're going to be on the winning side of this. So that's like very inspiring to see.
Yeah.
If there's people listening that have an app and they're not quite at that scale stage where they've built up a big marketing engine, but they do have budget to like try marketing experience, try to get their first like few thousand users, few thousand hour, what would you suggest like today if someone is trying to get started with, let's say, a $10,000 budget? What marketing would you do first to get a bunch of users, get your first like chunk of revenue?
I think I would do this in two folds. If you have $10,000 budget, obviously leveraging VO2 or VO3, like some sort of a video generation AI content, and then making sure you can scale that, because like that's the least cost effective. I mean, the most cost effective way to actually scale an account and make one account really viral. So then you can definitely do it internally and just have a prompt that you can even create via GPT. So you can use full AI funnel to create the prompt and then feed that into Midjourney or VO2, VO3 from Gemini, and then create these contents and then grow to a certain scale. I think that's a quick win that you can do with a low budget. And then two is finding right creator via like SiteShift or the Handshake, and then growing maybe just small creator program, the 2 to 3 without agency. You yourself can study through all these tools, that's finding trends on the viral TikTok trackers, growth hacking tools, and then finding those trends and recreating those videos and then scaling that to 2 to 3 creators and then later to 5 creators, I think could be a quick way to scale initial downloads. I think that's how I probably break it down in the first 2 to 3 months, just to spend 10K budget on initial growth of the app.
You just gave like a really good tool stack. So first was like AI generated content. This is super brand new. It's like literally like last week Google released VO3, which is just it's crazy how it looks. Like Google just released this like May 20th,
and VO3 is insane. I was like blown away by the quality of the videos.
This is completely AI. It's just, I wonder how many prompts this takes. Okay, here's the prompts. Look, backseat of a taxi, zebra print cloth with jellyfish floating around. That's so
insane.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And like the motion, it's like it does camera motion too. There's like, I just saw camera shake there. The lighting was perfect. the hands and the face are perfect too. It's not like weird
Yeah.
AI looking. And then how much does this cost? Is this like free to use right now?
No, I think I am not sure exactly how much. I think there's a free trial for a month, I believe. And VO3 is like, I don't know why, but they made it really hard for just normal people to download. So you gotta like dig into buttons to see how you can use it. But I think it was like $20 a month for the cheapest one, and then it goes up from there. But I need to double check on this. I am not 100% sure.
Yeah. That's still so crazy.
Yeah, but
This is
VO2
wild.
is good enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, there's so much experimentation you could do with this. What would you use this for? Like, how do you prompt this to make like useful marketing videos?
So I don't do too much face contents with the AI creations. I think I do more of like a value videos where like, let's say for example, for our narrative for fintech, it's like people like flashy stuff and they want to invest so they can buy like nice cars or nice homes. So there's a lot of like angle moving within the house with a nice view of like balcony, overlooking the ocean. And then the, layover text would be like, if you invested in, Netflix back 5 years ago, you might be sitting in this house. Or, McLaren or like Porsche just pulls up on the corner and then you kind of like go around with the camera and then shows the car and then that will kind of, ignite certain emotions within you. Oh, maybe I can invest and buy this car, or maybe I can invest and live this lifestyle. That's how I use the content creation for AI nowadays versus like before, if I had to use Heijian and like do a lot of like TED Talks, I use more for just like creating these kind of like a view videos. People do enjoy views, I think. Like, if you don't have a luxury to travel to exotic places, I think just being in the moment by viewing the videos actually kind of helps. So I think that's kind of the past few months of how I use the AI tools to create videos.
As a tangent, this reminds me of like how gurus like rent Lambos just to like put it in a video. You don't need to rent the Lambo anymore. You just AI generate it.
Yeah.
That's so great. Like lifestyle, it's like lifestyle compilation footage, like B-roll. Like the cost of that is now like near zero, and you can just like prompt and like get unlimited lifestyle footage for B-roll.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people use this tool to like create those like a brain rot videos where, like there's like a paper, you cut it exactly in half, and like those satisfying videos, you can obviously create those with these. I haven't tried much on those, but I've heard some success story with creating just like a very satisfying videos and overlay text and do indirect CTA via that as well.
And then you mentioned a few other tools that I'm just gonna quickly go through. So you mentioned Spy Talk, looking at in order to find viral videos that are already working and then like copying those formats. So it sounds like you guys are doing that. And then to find creators, you mentioned SideShift, hire Gen Z UGC creators. Yeah, it sounds like that's a useful marketplace. And then I think you mentioned, what was the other tool?
Shake. It's similar, but Handshake is something that I also use.
Right, and you can just hire college students.
Yeah, and Spy Talk is, really helpful to identify the trend, right? Because you can obviously type it on TikTok with the hashtag and try to find the right videos. But then I think this really aggregates all the right trends based on the keywords. And this really helps with just finding the right niche to target. So this I would use as a research tool. AI tools, I would use it as content creation, and then Handshake and SideShift, I use it to recruit creators.
Yeah, that's the complete stack. Like inspiration, market research, finding creators, and then creating content yourself with AI generated stuff. That's a great stack for anyone who's just starting out. I guess we can just close with what's one piece of advice, actionable as possible, that you could give someone to build a growth engine as crazy and successful as Bloom's.
The biggest one is just keep doing it. I think that's the advice. It's like you can get jaded by just trying a month or two and nothing hits and you just kind of want to give up. But I think consistency in the end is what scales the business. Like you might be lucky in the day one and, hit a viral videos because if you, warm up properly and then somehow you just got in a right algo and then immediately hits 100K view, great, good for you. But then most cases, it takes time to scale. I would almost say 90 days is the minimum amount of time that you should give yourself to make any video viral. That 90-day period can be painful. Obviously, as a founder, bootstrap, not much money, you don't have much time. But I think being consistent is what drives the success there. So as cliche as it sounds, like keep trying until something hits. And right now I'm in that phase where like, I'm not making much viral videos in past, 60 days. And I'm getting tired, like waking up, oh, like, am I going to hit something viral today? But like, if you, zoom out, just give time and it will happen if you just keep trying every day. So I think consistency is what will make you a good founder, marketer, growth hacker, whatever that is.
Thanks so much, Jay. This is an awesome conversation. I learned a lot from it. Jay, CEO of Bloom, thanks so much.
Thank you, Joseph.
That was insane. Jay is the CEO of Bloom app, and he's one of the members of Consumer Club, the online community for app founders that are killing it with a lot of organic strategies and just really focused on growth hacking. So you guys check out Consumer Club. And of course, this is the Superwall YouTube channel. So check out Superwall to get deep on paywalls. A lot of Consumer Club members use Superwall. So big thanks for Superwall for sponsoring this episode as well. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.